Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday Racing preview. Of course, in this video looking at the meeting tomorrow at Caulfield, obviously with P.B Lawrence Stakes Day. Really looking forward to getting stuck into it. Looks a fantastic program. We've really got spring racing kicking off now. Obviously we're not too far away from the spring months, but we've got that spring racing field back in. We've got plenty of good racing, got some fantastic horses returning to the track, which we're really looking forward to seeing go around. So without any further ado, we're going to get stuck straight into the Caulfield meeting tomorrow. At the moment, the track's rated a soft 6. First race on the program tomorrow will be kicking off at 12:10. So 700 metre race is race number 1, benchmark 84. Only the 7 to go around in the first race, so a little bit of a small field, but there is a couple of decent sized fields later on to get in the program in a couple of the other races. So look at the first race on the program. Sovereign Reward looks like it'll roll to the top. I'd say No Effort and Clean Achiever might roll up and sort of sit either. I think No Effort will probably sit in behind Sovereign Award, and Clean Achiever will probably sit just outside of Sovereign Award there, I would say, with Moscow Red and Ruby Sky might kick up off the inside barrier to make sure that it sits maybe just in behind the leader, although I think it'll be two pairs back on the fence. Look, I think this is going to be a pretty hard race for Sovereign Award to get beaten in. He's been terrific since his return back from a spell. He's had 2 fantastic wins. The last one at Moonee Valley for me was the one that really ticked it off for me. I was obviously very impressed with his win at Sale. He did a lot wrong there and he managed to still win first up this preparation, but then he sort of went into that Moonee Valley run. I wasn't overly keen on him, and he proved a lot of people wrong. He really put in a great performance against quite a decent field, to be honest, there. So I can't see why he can't do that again here. This looks a very beatable field, so I'm going to have him on top to win again at $2.05 at this stage, currently trading. You can probably find him on a little bit of a better price around, but he's basically around that sort of $2 to $2.10 mark at this stage. So I've got him on top to beat number 6, Miss O'Malley, who so sorry, Mrs. O'Malley, she just continues to run really great races. She's been around the money last 3 starts, obviously finishing in the top 4. The last couple have been behind some decent horse. Finished 3rd behind Moscow Red, who she meets here again. Interestingly, this time around, obviously, Miss O'Malley went round. What did she carry last start? 58 kilos. She drops down to 56 here. And Moscow Red carried 59 on that occasion, now carries 59.5. So Miss O'Malley gets that little bit of a weight swing, and I think that'll work into her favour here, and she'll run a much better race. Louis German, Duco Claim, actually brings it out to 54, so she gets a massive weight swing here. So I expect her to get the better of Moscow Red this time round. But prior to that, she finished 2nd behind a horse called Grandiflora, who's a very smart type. So Miss O'Malley's been around the right form lines, and I think with that weight swing, she'll be able to get the better of Moscow Red. So I've got her in for 2nd. In for 3rd, number 4, No Effort. I think she'll just cruising behind the speed. I think she'll get a really nice run. Be able to hit the line well. She finished 3rd behind Al Galeo last time out. I thought that was a good effort. Al Galeo's a pretty good horse on his day, so I do take a bit into that effort. Dwayne Dunn maintains the ride. $9.50. I think it's a pretty good price. If you were looking to play that, I think it's going to get a really nice running behind the speed. So if you're not willing to play the favourite, No Effort could be a decent each way go. And number 2, Moscow Red, I've got to throw it in for 4th. Very consistent, especially on wet tracks. This horse hasn't missed a top 4 place in its last 6, so really in some terrific form. You can take him, as a decent place chance to finish in the top 3. Although just be wary, obviously this race will be no 3rd dividend. So if you're going to have him for the place, he's got to finish 2nd. So do remember that. But with a lot of the promo specials around, you could often get 2nd, 3rd, or anything the like. You get a bonus bet back. So look, you can take him and you can probably back that he'll finish top 3 for you. I don't really think he's quite a winning chance here, but I do think he'll be finishing right up in the money. I've got him in for 4th, but he could easily finish in the top 3. So recap the numbers for the first race on the program for me at Caulfield. Race number 1, Sovereign Award goes on top for me. Hopefully the first favourite can lob home for myself and plenty of other punters out there who I know will be pretty keen on him. I think that a lot of people will launch into him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's much shorter tomorrow. So if you want to get that $2.10 now or $2.05 at summer trading now, I'd probably get on right now. I don't think he'll be any further in the market tomorrow. I can see them loading into him. It looks a pretty winnable race for him. In for 2nd, I've got number 6, Miss O'Malley. In for 3rd, number 4, No Effort. In for 4th, number 2, Moscow Red. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now. It's the over the 1,000 metres, the Superbox Raceday Hamper, benchmark 78. 8 horses go around in this field here. Look at the speed map. Look, not a whole lot of speed considering it's a 1,000 metre dash here. Mr. Mogoth inside Barrow, I think will roll up towards the pace. I knew she was mine to be right up on speed. I think a good yarn might also press on for the lead as well, but they seem to be the only real ones that'll press on for into the speed battle there, I would suggest. But look, I'm pretty keen on a horse called the Closer here. Comes into this first up. This is a horse that's got a stack of ability. Really did show that last preparation with a couple of really nice wins at Sandown. Uh, and then they stepped him out. Stepped her out to Stakes Company, and she ended up into open handicap level, and she got beat by Sylvia's mother there by 1.3 lengths. That's some excellent form. I mean, she's probably going to need a bit further. 1,000 metres probably a bit short of her distance range. She seems to be that horse that's around that 1,400 metre mark. But I think she's got a bit on these, and she could perhaps win first up. She comes in pretty good at the weights considering the level of racing that she's competed in the past. Obviously, Lockie Nindorf's 2 kilo claim brings her down to 57. So the fact she comes in so nicely at the weights, I'm going to have her on top here. I think that she could perhaps run a pretty bold race first up. She's a horse that she is well accomplished in soft ground. She had 3 starts for 2 wins, which is a massive positive as well. So I just think that she's got the class edge and she can perhaps win this one's first up. So she goes on top for me. And number 1, Mr. Mogul, who's absolutely flying. He's been in terrific form. He's going to appreciate having that barrier number 1 and not a lot of speed on. He's going to roll up towards the pace. And without perhaps that solid pressure on him, he might be able to run a good enough race to win this. He finished second, a horse called Bumper Blast last time out, who goes around later on the program in one of the tougher races of the program in the Regal Roller. So that's some good form for me. Bumper Blast is a very good horse, and we'll be able to see how good that form is with Mr. Mogul here in this race. Prior to that, he won really nicely, winning at Flemington, beating Kanunga. So he's had his runs pretty well spaced out. He's basically run every sort of 4 weeks, and he's done that here again. He comes out basically off a 4 week break again. So there seems to be a bit of a pattern. He seems to be enjoying that racing like that, and he could run really well again here. So I've got him in for second. In for third, number 5, Fight, I think has been a horse that's been a little bit unlucky. It was a bit stiff last time out at Moonee Valley. He was beaten by a very good horse in Brooklyn Hustle. Finished behind Propel on that occasion, but look, they did set a pretty genuine tempo, and they was able to set up for Brooklyn Hustle and Propel to run on from the back. And I think this time around there's not as quick a tempo on paper. And Fight, if it can just get across that wide barrier and find a position in behind the speed, get a nice bit of cover, it might be able to run a really good race. So I think I've got him for third. And then even fourth, number 8, Propel. Look, if they run fast enough up front, this horse should be flying home late. She's got a lot of ability. Look, she was beaten by a very good horse last time out. We got no denying that with Brooklyn Hustle. So there was I guess, there's nothing wrong with finishing behind Brooklyn Hustle and being given her Winburn by her. She's got a stack of ability. But my only concern with her continues to remain that she has not won on a soft ground. So as long as it remains a soft, I can't suggest launching into her at the $4.20 personally. I think she can run a good race, but I definitely couldn't have her for the win if we're going to be finding that wet track again. So I think she's still looking for a bit of solid going, although she did go much better in the soft ground last time out, where she finished second behind Brooklyn Hustle. So look, pretty competitive race this one here, and I've gone number 6, the closer on top for me at $4.20. I think he can run a really bold race first up, and I think she's got a very good chance. So she goes on top for me ahead of number 1, Mr. Mogul for second. In for third, number 5, Fight, and in for fourth, number 8, Propel. Moving on to race number 3 on the program now. It's 1,100 metre Ned's Bet Back Handicap. And again, 8 horses go around to this field here. Looking at the speed map, I'd probably suggest that Acting and She's a Thief will battle out the speed. They'll be the 2 that will pair off and lead them up. Al Campana, probably Bless Her, might be able to roll in from barrier number 7 and lob just in behind the speed, 1 out, 1 back, as they like to say in harness racing terms. This is a very competitive race. I love this race here. It's very tough to split some of these. There's a few that are returning that are very smart, the likes of Embrace Me, obviously Acting, Street Icon, very, very good sprinting types. And but then you've got the ones who are into great form, and I'm going to roll with the form. But Bless Her has just been immense so far. She's had 4 starts for 4 wins this preparation. She just hasn't really put a foot wrong. She's been really good. Last time out she beat Chassis, who interestingly she gets a weight swing on, because Chassis obviously came out again a couple of weeks ago and obviously beat Rich Hips, and I wasn't overly convinced in that form of Rich Hips, because I was expecting it to win at Sandown on Wednesday, and it was quite a disappointing performance by her there. So not 100% sure on the form of Chassis, but I can be very can be very confident on the form of Bless Her. She's been in terrific form, 4 wins from 4 starts. Hasn't put a foot wrong, and I think at $5, it's a very good price about her. I think she really is the one in form. She comes up against a very tough opposition here, but she's definitely got the ability to win this. So she goes on top for me. At a number 5, Street Icon, who resumes here. Very good horse. She's a very good sprinting mare for the Kevin Corson's team. My only concern with her is that she probably is looking for firmer ground. She's not got great form on a wet track. She had 6 starts on a soft track for 3 placings. But in saying that, she went to another level last preparation. She was really good. She did run a third behind Hummer Hummer and Kabini on a soft track at over 1,200 metres. So she did, I guess, frank her own form a little bit on terms of on a wet track with that run at Morpheville. That's against very good company. Obviously, we know Hummer Hummer's a group type, listed level type horse. And she obviously wasn't far off of her before going out for a spell. So, look, she's got a lot of ability. She can run a bold race first up here. So she goes to the second for me. In the third, I've got number 1, Embrace Me, who's probably the class horse of the race. She's got a lot of ability. My only little query with her is that she often does her best race at Flemington and Moonee Valley rather than here at Caulfield. So just that little bit of a query, but goes barrier number 1, Ben Mallam in the saddle. They look like they're going to go a pretty solid clip up front. And she might be able to run over the top of them late. She doesn't mind running on a soft surface. She had 7 starts for 2 wins and a placing. So I think she could run a race here. I've got her in for third. And then in for fourth, I've got number 3, Acting, who I think, again, also resuming. Is going to be leading and probably is looking for a bit further. It's just going to be interesting if she has that sharp sprint in her, I guess. She's led them up on plenty of occasions. Looking at her form last preparation, though, she was beaten by Mystery Love at Caulfield over 1,100 metres and Prophet's Thumb. She was beaten by Conte Patiro in a Group 1 race. She obviously went and competed in that. Was beaten by La 10 by nearly 10 lengths. So she was disappointing there on that occasion. She has had a bit of a spell since then. Obviously, a lot of those races are back on February, March, and April. So she'll probably need this first up run with Damien Oliver in the saddle. He's in great form, a wet track, and has been able to lead on her own. I'd suggest She's a Thief might get up there and challenge her for the speed, but I think she's got a bit on She's a Thief, so she can finish here for fourth. But look, in saying that, She's a Thief does have a good chance here. Our Campana and Chassis, really, they've all got good chances, and that's why the market reflects that. So it's a very open race, but that's why I've gone with number 6, Bless Her. I think she's just got the established form. She's in terrific winning form, and you can take her with a bit of confidence at the $5. I can't see her running a bad race, so she goes on top for me. Ahead of number 5, Street Icon in for second. In the third, I've got number 1, Embrace Me, and in the third, I've got number 3, Acting. Move on to race number 4 now. It's the Ive Print Handicap over 1,600 metres. And look at the speed map here for this 9 runners going around this field. I'd stress that Northwest Passage will go and find the top, with Naval Warfare probably also rolling towards the speed. We think we're due. I think we'll sit just in behind them. And First Class Dream will probably boot up off the inside barrier to get close enough to the speed as well. Probably sit just in behind the 2 leaders. Look, this looks a race that's in Plenciel's keeping for me here. He looks really hard to beat here. He's obviously terrific here at Caulfield. He's had 6 starts for 4 wins and a placing at the track. He's tried on wet going. He finished a great fourth behind Saucony and Polly Gray last time out at Flemington. Really, he finds himself a very winnable race here. 1,600 metres. He's very good at this trip as well. He's had 3 starts at the track and distance for 3 wins and for 2 wins and a placing. So I really think he's going to be hard to beat here. He goes on top for me. He's definitely the one to beat. 2.25 is quite short, but I think that actually is fair, because I think that I'll really struggle to see too many that can beat him in this race here, if I'm frankly honest. So he's going on top, and he's probably one of my better bets of the program. So he's on top for me ahead of number 3, Northwest Passage, who's obviously looking for a bit further. It's going to be looking for probably 2,500 metres and around that mark, but it has won on a soft track before, and the fact it's going to be leading in the lap, it's a pretty good horse that obviously used to be with Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, now with the Mar Eustace team, and I'm just interested to see how he can run first up here. So I'm just going to, he has won first up before from 2 goes, so that is for me very interesting, and I think he could run a bold race at the $15, so he goes in for second. In for third, number 9, First Class Dreamer has hit some pretty good form, and Tom Stockdale jumps in the saddle, so we're coming in right at the bottom of the weights at 54 kilos, and I think that he can improve off his last start performance where he beat Bacchus. He's had a bit of a spell. That was 2 weeks ago, and prior to that, he won at Sale, where he beat Somerset Margam, who's not a bad horse, at that sort of provincial level. So he has been in some good form. He's obviously up in grade now, but drops right down the weight. So he's definitely got a good chance. And from that barrier number one, I think he can get a cozy running behind the speed, and he'll be running a real bold race. So he goes in for third for me. And then even fourth, number four, Exasperate, who I also think can run well first up. He hasn't got the best first up record, has 5 starts for 2 placings, but comes to this off obviously last preparation, ran some really good runs here at Caulfield. He loves this track, so 4 starts for 3 wins and a placing here at Caulfield, and he is tried on a wet surface. He's 3 from 3 at the track and distance, so he's got a big chance here first up at the $5. He's the smoky to knock off Plenciel, but I'm very confident on Plenciel's chances, especially with Damien Oliver in the saddle. He's flying at the moment. He knows exactly what to do on a horse like that, so he goes on top for me as my top selection, one of the best bets of the program. In for second, number 3, Northwest Passage. In for third, I've got number 9, First Class Dream, and in for fourth, number 4, Exasperate. Move on to race number 5 now. It's the first feature race of the day. It's the Ned's Vein Stakes over the 1100 metres, Group 3 level. Look at the speed map here for this race. I'd say Rulership and Ranting will find the top. They'll be the two that will pair off and lead them out. Luna Fox off the inside barrier, I think, will roll up and sit in behind them. Larimer Street and the Cruiser won't be too far off the speed either, I'd suggest, and keep on fighting our playboy. So I'd see them and Hydro Star dropping back to the rear field from their outside barriers. But look, I'm pretty keen on Rulership here. I was very keen on him last week at Rose Hill. He was scratched from that meeting there, probably due to the heavy track. He comes into this one here. He comes to this first up. He's resuming, so pretty good trial leading in at Roundwick. That was on a synthetic surface. He also finished fourth. Obviously, the last preparation before he went out for a spell, he finished fourth behind Doubtlander Jurler. He was a little bit disappointed that occasion. He went round as the favourite, but still, it was a good run. He competed in some terrific races last preparation, including the Blue Diamond Stakes. So he's got a lot of form. He's obviously got form around Hanseatic. We know how good Hanseatic is. I think this is his race here, and he goes on top for me at $2.90. Ahead of number 5, Ranting, who resumes for the Corson's team and showed a lot of ability last preparation. Finished second at Forever Free first up, and then went over to Morpheville and finished third behind Eka Maniacal and Crown Mint. And those two horses have proven they went on from that race there and raced pretty well subsequently after that. So Ranting's got some good form, and I think he can run a good race here, landing up on the speed, and he'll be able to run pretty well. I think Hydro Star's the real interesting one for me. Very good debut performance at Sandown. I was very taken aback with that performance on debut. He looks to have a massive amount of ability. He's a big sprue horse. He's got the run on the soft track, which is obviously a big tick for him here. He is going to be back in the field. He's going to have to obviously wind up and finish over the top of him. So I guess I want to see him do it again at this top level for me, because these are some very good 3-year-olds here that he's coming up against, is particularly Rulership. So he's going to have to give them a start. He's going to have to run them down. So for me, I'd rather see him do it first before I can back him. But he's got a lot of ability, and I'm very excited to see what he can do here in better grade. Obviously, that John McCall stepped him straight up. He's not messed around. He's not working through his grades, straight up to the Group 3 level, which I do like. Often that takes a lot of guts to do that, because sometimes you want to take your time with horses that are just sort of just kicking off their racing preparation, but he's throwing him straight in the deep end, which obviously says to me that he thinks he's well capable enough to winning a race like this. So he goes in for third for me. In for fourth, I've got number 2, Larimer Street, who obviously showed some terrific form last preparation, including a win at Moonee Valley before going out for a spell, betting Vangelic on that occasion. Finished second to Luna Fox, who he meets here again, but he's come into this really nicely. He's had a couple of nice runs. The race he had before he come out for a spell was obviously behind King's Legacy in Prague. So that was the Group 1 race there, which was that was a Group 1 race there, and he obviously was well tried in that. He finished, he was pretty unlucky in the Millennial first up on his debut run. He was beaten by Ole Kirk on the VRC size, so he's got a stack of bit of form around him, and I think he can run a bold race first up. He's going to get a really nice running behind the speed. Luna Fox is probably one that's over the odds. I just mentioned that Luna Fox did beat Larimer Street last preparation, so comes into this and perhaps is been a bit forgotten about here at the $23. Is definitely the one at odds that I think he can have a play on. But look, I'm very keen on number 3, Rulership here. I think he's the one to beat. He's got the class edge on these. ahead of number 5 Ranting in for second, in for third, number 6 Hydro Star, and in for fourth, number 2 Larimer Street. Moving on into the final 4 races, and it's race number 6, and we're looking at the Quezette Stakes. Obviously, 14 horses going in this field, so a very good sized field for the Quezette, and a very nice field as well. I look at the speed map here, I'd say River Knight and Aqua Girl find the top with Supreme Idea, and probably Zooming Zebra will probably try and roll across from barrier number 14 there. Fresh and Bella Nipotina often up towards the pace as well, so can see a fair bit of pressure on up front here in this race here, and it'll set up for some of the back markers, I reckon. And a horse that I think has just been forgotten about a little bit is this horse here, and it is I Can Too, number 13. This horse had won really well first on debut at Warrnambool during the obviously the Warrnambool Carnival, and she's been obviously spelled since, save for the spring. This was always the plan with her. She's got a lot of ability. Craig Williams in the saddle, $12 for me is a very good price. So for me, I see it's a very open race. That's why I've gone with a fair bit of value in my selections here, and I Can Too is the one I'm most keen on. So she goes on top for me, ahead of number 12, Agreeable, who was very good winning on debut at Geelong, beating Aswad on that occasion, has been spelled since then. So that was back on the 29th of May. So quick short spell, ready for the spring. Similarly to I Can Too, just to obviously had the spring aspirations with this horse, and she gets her chance here. First up, she's got, paying $10. I think she's got a very good chance as well. So they're the two I'm very keen to play each way. Parlophone, what a fantastic win that was last start at Morphettville, and even the one prior at Sandown was a really good performance as well. She beat Peggy Celine at Sandown the start prior. Peggy Celine came out on Wednesday and won, so she's gone on with it, won since. She beat Streetcar Stranger in a very good win in the Lightning Stakes over in Adelaide, so that was a very good performance by Parlophone. But she's very short here, $2.35. This is a very good field. I just couldn't go with her on top. I thought that as good as she has been and as impressive as she's been, I couldn't have her as my top selection just at those odds. I think she probably will drift tomorrow because there's a lot of horses in this race, and a lot that I think a lot of punters will remember from the 2-year-old preparation. They'll get behind them here again, thinking they could show some improvement as a 3-year-old. So I think Parlophone will drift. So if you do like Parlophone, I would hold out, and you'll probably get a better price further, probably towards tomorrow or closer to race time. And number 7, Fresh, is the other one that I'm pretty keen on. First up here, this horse showed a lot of ability last preparation. Beat Personal on debut by 3 lengths. Then it went to Caulfield, finished second behind A Beautiful Night. And for me, that was a very good form race. Remembering back from that 2-year-old preparation, and then obviously went and finished by Let's Be Glam. It was beaten as a favourite there. It was very disappointing in that race, but in the end, look, it's got some very good form. It's had a good jump out coming into this. Looks ready to go, and she's got a lot of ability. So she could run a bold race here first up at $7 at Damien Lane, the saddle. Other ones that I was pretty keen on, and it's number 4, Supreme Idea. Obviously finished 7th in that Lightning Stakes. It was off the track there and ran wide the whole trip and did really come into it there on that occasion. It's going to appreciate coming to this second up. I think it needed that first up run here, and it's going to have a little bit of a sting out of the ground with a soft surface, which it has won on before. So I can expect some improvement out of Supreme Idea at $27. I wouldn't leave it out of the quaddies or first 4 selections if you're keen on playing those exotics. And number 5, Bella Nipotina, is another one who I think could run well here first up as well. It's had a really good jump out coming into this, and obviously last preparation ran some pretty good horses. Finished second to Swats That, who's could be anything. Really good horse, that one. And a 4th behind Ecomaniacal and Zoo Shine before it went out for a spell. So this horse didn't finish outside the top 4 in 5 of its last 5 runs before a spell, so it could run a really bold race here first up as well. But recap the numbers for me, I'm very keen on it. Number 13, I Can Too. I'm very excited about her ability and what she can show here first up against some good horses. So she goes on top for me. And number 12, Agreeable. They're 2 very good each way chances for me. Number 3, Parlophone in for 3rd, and then in for 4th, I've got number 7, Fresh. Moving on to race number 7 now. It's the listed Regal Roller over the 1,200 metres. And look at the speed map here. 9 horses go around in this field. Sorry, actually, no, not 9 horses. We've got 8 now with the scratching of Miami Bounds. I think Age of Chivalry, Very Good to Your Mother, and Jungle Edge will be the 3 leading factors of this race here. I'd probably think, as much as Age of Chivalry will like to lead, I think that Be Good to Your Mother and Jungle Edge have got superior gate speed to her, and they'll probably be able to get across it. But I'll be interested to see if Damien Lane makes them work and makes them make a decision whether they want to get across her or tuck in behind or try and take her on for the lead. So it could be a really interesting battle early on the race, and we'll be able to see very early on how this race pans out. Look, I'm very keen on number 3, Be Good to Your Mother here first up. I think she could run a very good race. She's obviously coming into this a Group 1 winner in the spring. She winning the Oakley Plate. She's got a stack of ability. Sorry, he's got a stack of ability. I keep thinking she is a she with the mother. That really throws me off. Whenever there's racing names that have sort of females or males involved, I automatically think that's what it is. But obviously, he's a 6-year-old bay brown gelding, so apologies for that. He's got a lot of ability. He didn't really show it last preparation. Obviously, during the autumn, he was a little bit disappointing. But in saying that, he did go around some very good races. Obviously multiple Group 1 races there that he went round in behind Alabama Express, Fierce Impact. And then he was beaten by 15.7 lengths, which is when they took him out when he went up to round week and finished behind the Bostonian. So, look, he had a pretty bad prep last time out, but he's coming into this looking much better. He's obviously very good at this track. He's loves the soft surface. He's had 7 starts for 3 wins and a placing on it. So I think he can run a good race first up here at the $7. So I'm with him each way on top. Ahead of number 6, Age of Chivalry, who I also think can run a very good race. Obviously loves running here at Caulfield. Has a lot of ability. I'm really keen to see what he can do as a 5-year-old now. He's obviously showed he went to that next level last preparation, winning some very good races. And look, I mean, he obviously finished 6th to Anahid over 1,100 metres at Caulfield. And then his run before he went for a spell was behind Blazowski. He was only narrowly beaten on that occasion. So he only had the 2 runs during the autumn. I'm really keen to see how he goes here for this spring preparation. He obviously is Group 1 place, and he's had good jump outs coming to this and gets barrier number 1. So there's plenty of ticks to go the way of Age of Chivalry. So he goes in for second for me. If a third number 1, Jungle Edge, I can't believe he's $8 really, because if we get a wet track, which I'd suggest we will do, although it is a soft 6, so we are obviously on that borderline. I don't really see. I mean, it's sort of a bit of showers around here in Melbourne at the moment, so I think that we'll be playing with a soft surface. So, if that's the case, you got to think he's got to have a chance here, Jungle Edge, to bounce back off his last start performance, which was on a good track, and we know that he's no good on a good track, really. So, you can forgive that, and if he gets a wet surface here, I think he'll turn the tables on Viridine. He pays $8. He's got a chance. And then, look, I've got to have Viridine in. He obviously was terrific last start. Interestingly, obviously, Damien Oliver rode him last time out. He jumps off the saddle this time round. He's not actually riding this race because he did elect to go with Miami Bound, and obviously she's been scratched. So, but it's just interesting that he has jumped off of Viridine for me. So $2.80 is a bit short for me, and especially if we get that wet surface rather than the good track, which he prefers. If it does dry out, he'll obviously come into the thick of things, but I think $2.80 is a bit short about him, and I expect him to drift before the start of the race. But look, I'm keen with number 3, Be Good to Your Mother. I think he can resume and run a good race, so he goes on top for me. Out of number 6, Age of Chivalry, in for second, in for third, number 1, Jungle Edge, and in for fourth, number 2, Viridine. Moving on to race number 8 on the program now. So 2 races left, and this is the feature race of the day, not only at Caulfield, but across the country. The Group 2 P.B Lawrence Stakes, and it's an absolute rip of a race. You could really mistake this for Group 1 with some of the horses in this field. Look at the speed map here for this race. So I'd suggest that I'd say Savatiano, Streets of Avalon, and Circonia will probably be the 3 leaders of the race. I'd say Morrissey will probably be up there. Arcadia Queen, she won't be too far off the speed as usual as well. So pretty decent tempo for this race here in race number 8. Obviously the P.B Lawrence Stakes over 1,400 metres. Look, I'm very keen on a horse in this race here. And I think that obviously there's quite a few good chances, but I'm very keen on number 10, Savatiano here. I think she can catch a few of those napping. A few of these are probably looking for races a bit further on in this spring. I think that she'll be well prepared for this. Interestingly, I saw that I was pretty keen on her. I think it was last week at Rose Hill, and she got scratched from that meeting being a heavy track. And James Cummings now has her down here in Victoria for this race, and I think that he's done that deliberately, thinking that she's got a good winning chance, and I do think she's got a chance as well to win. She has won here at the track before from her only start. She has good stats on a soft track, 10 starts for 2 wins and 5 placings. I think she can just have these, I guess, catch these before they're at their peak in a way. She's a very good fresh performer. She's had 7 starts first up for 4 wins and a placing. She's had a good trial leading into this, and I just like that James Cummings has decided to scratch her from a heavy track into a race like this, because if he was just thinking of giving her, I guess, a run-through race, he would have just let her go around that race, I would have thought. So similarly to, I guess, Melody Bell. Melody Bell, I always thought last week that was just going to be a warm-up run for her. She was very disappointing in the end. I couldn't believe how badly she ran, but She was never going to win that race in my view. So that was just her tick over run. And I thought Savatiano could have gone round in a race like that and just run a race. But I think the fact that James Cummings has brought her to perhaps a surface that's going to be much more to her liking. She doesn't have a good heavy track form. Just is a very big positive to me. So she goes on top for me ahead of number 3, Streets of Avalon, another horse who I think might catch those on the backward step. He was massively backed last preparation. He was he was massively backed last start at Caulfield. Obviously, once it got into the good track, there's a lot of punters that dived into him. Similarly here again, he obviously isn't a good wet track performer. If he gets if the track does dry out, though, he'll come right in the thick of things. And I'll be keeping an eye on that market support because they did come for him last time. If they come for him again, you would probably want to be behind him. So he comes in for second for me. In for third, number 9, Arcadia Queen. She's got a lot of ability, as we know. She's untried on a wet track, which is my only little query that I've got on her here. Obviously, last preparation, she went round in an Everest bind. Yes. She was $5 on that occasion, almost jumped as favourite. So she's got a stack of ability, and she then finished fifth behind Colding and Sunlight in an Oakley plate there. Sorry, not Oakley plate. Sorry, that was the Golden Eagle that she obviously finished fifth in before she went out for a spell. So she's got a lot of ability, as we know, and I'm keen to see her run first up here. First up on a soft track is the only query for me, but she goes for third. In here for fourth, number 8, Mystic Journey. Looking forward to seeing her return to the track. Look, I really could easily put her in my top 3. She's $4.20, but I wanted to make mention of those other 2. I just think that they're ready to go first up. Mystic Journey's obviously got a few more races that she's looking for. Looking for further, obviously, in her preparation. She only had the one start in the autumn, and that was behind Loving Gavin Guitra, who obviously subsequent Group 1 winners. So there was no disgrace in finishing fifth behind the likes of those 2. And look, she obviously has won here twice from 2 goes here at Caulfield at a track and distance. She's 2 from 2 on a soft track. She's 3 from 3 at this distance. She's five starts and 3 wins first up. So she's definitely going to be around the mark. I think she'll be flying home late. And I'm very keen to see how she runs. But obviously, I'm well aware that she obviously is looking for further things this spring. And as such, I just could have her on top. So she goes in fourth for me, but definitely has a good chance. But look, very looking forward to this race. And Regal Power, obviously, is the one I've left out. Look, he could run a good race. He is, unlike his stablemate, he is tried on a soft surface. He had 4 starts for a win and 2 placings. But I'm probably looking for him for second up and over a bit further for me with him. But William Pike in the saddle. Obviously, he probably does get the pick of the 2 runners. But I just think that Arcadia Queen will be better over this distance range, I suppose, whereas Regal Powers obviously look for a bit further. But recap the numbers for me. I'm very keen on number 10, Savatiano here. I think she can catch a few of these early in the preparation and she can win. So I've got her on top ahead of number 3, Streets of Avalon. Obviously, big player if the track dries out. In for third, number 9, Arcadia Queen. In for fourth, number 8, Mystic Journey. Moving on to the final race of the program now. Race number 9. It's the Highland Race Colours benchmark 84 over the 1400 metres. Look at the speed map here. 14 horses to go around. East Indian Man off the inside barrel. Roll forward. Left-hand man, Travie, my friend, will be up towards the pace. I'd say Mount Tabor and Allied Ace will be close enough. And Titan Bynes will look and roll across on the outside barrel as well. Now, look, he is very short, but he's got a stack of ability, this number 4 Showmanship. Very looking forward to seeing him come out here. Obviously, this is a step up in grade for him. He comes across from WA, but and the only query with him is that he's had 1 start in a soft track and he didn't place. So that is the little query. I expected they might not dive into him. They might look around him. But I'm expecting the track to dry out a little bit. And if it does do so, he's on top selection. So he goes on top. For me, he's got a stack of ability. I'm really looking forward to seeing him run. He's 4 from 4 this preparation. And obviously, they brought him down here for a reason, as to win races. So they've obviously got a very good opinion of him, Grant Alana Williams and William Pike in the saddle. I'm sure he won't leave Caulfield without a winner. We know that he obviously rides them pretty well, and he's going around in 1 at Geelong today, which, if you don't follow me on social media, very keen on Carnamar, his only ride for the race. So I think that horse has got a lot of ability. So there's just a little thing for any of you following here. And if you manage to get on in time at $3.50, my best bet of the day at Geelong. So go and check that one out if you haven't already done so. But look, he goes around here on Showmanship, and I'm very keen to see how he can run first up. But however, in saying that, there is a few around him that obviously have got a lot of ability in their own right, and can't be forgotten about. One of them is number 15, Otorto, who gets a wet track, who he's very good on. He's had 3 starts for a win and 2 placings here. He's 3 starts first up for a win and 2 placings as well. So he's got a very big chance at the $12. So for me, he's my on top selection. If it does dry out, though, I'll be leaning with Showmanship, especially if he gets out of that $2 mark. So look, I'll change my numbers. I'll have 15 on top for me just because for the value. And if it does dry out, I'll be going with Showmanship. All right, how's that? And obviously, if he goes out from $1.75, if he gets around that $2 mark, I'll be keen to back him. But while he's at $1.75, he's a bit short for me. But I do think he can win. But looking at Otorto, I think it's got plenty of claims to suggest that he'll run really well first up here. He obviously finished behind the likes of Poised to Strike and Harbour Views last preparation, who have got a lot of ability, especially Harbour Views. So absolutely no shame in finishing behind them. And I like that he's stepping out at 1400 metres first up. Danny Melvin the saddle. Greg Urell, the trainer, he's been flying. So expect good things from him first up here. Number 14, Wilmot Pass. Gee, sure was I mean, if you got back to it like I did last start, you were absolutely covering your eyes in horror. You couldn't believe what happened. She got buried up on the inside. She never got a crack at them. She really did run through the line really well when she did get a bit of clean air at Moonee Valley there, but she comes back to the wider track at Caulfield. I think she could run a much better race here, and she'll running for third for me. She'll be well in the placings. And fourth, number 3, Allied Ace. I'm keen to see how she can run first up here for Lindsay Smith, Lockie Nindorf in the saddle. Obviously, has two starts for winning and placing first up. She's tried on a wet track. She's very good. She's won here at the track before as well. One and has placed on a soft surface, so she's got plenty of claims to go her way. She's obviously looking for a bit further, but I think she could run a bold race first up here, and I've got her for fourth. So recap the numbers for me at this stage with the soft track and with the pricings. I've gone with number 15, Otorto on top. In for second, number 4, Showmanship. But like I said, if he goes out in the market and if it dries out, he'll become my on top selection. If he gets out to sort of $2 plus, I think he's got a lot of ability to be hard to beat. In for third, number 14, Wilmot Pass, and in for fourth, I've got number 3, Allied Ace. Now, going back through the program, looking at my best bets on the program. So going back to race number 4, number 2, Plenciel at $2.25. Quite short, but look, I think he's going to be really hard to beat. I think that's his race. He's got it in his keeping, and if he turns up and performs, I think he'll be winning that race with quite some ease. So he goes on as my best bet of the program. My second best bet, I'm pretty keen to play in the P.B Lawrence, and I'm going to go Savatiano. I'm just very keen on a chance. I know it's a very good race and a very good field. There's some very good types, and there's probably a few that are better than her, but you got to remember that she's a Group 1 winner, and she's very good in her own right. She's very good first up, and I just think that she'll catch a few of these before they get to their peak races, which they're targeting further on in the spring. Whereas I think James Cummings actually thinks he can take this out, which is why he brought her down here rather than raced her up in Sydney. So race number 8, number 10, Savatiano's my other best bet, the $5, getting some decent value there. Best each way value players of the program. Look, race number 7, the Regal Roll Stakes. I'm very keen on Be Good to Your Mother each way. I think he'll be right in the finishing, so he goes in for as mine of my best value and each way bets of the program. The other one that I was quite keen on came earlier in the program. It was in race number 6, number 13, I Can Too, in the $12 and $3.50 the place. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the support. Obviously, subscribe if you're new here, like the video. I really appreciate that, and comment any of your thoughts down below. Any ones that I might have missed that you're quite keen on. Obviously, very keen for a bit of a discussion. I'll give you my thoughts on any runners that you perhaps want me to have an opinion on, or even just comment yourself and join in the discussion. Always appreciate every week. So thank you for tuning in. Obviously, spring racing is back. Apologies, this video has been quite long. Hopefully you've all been able to stick it out. And if you haven't, I don't blame you. But yeah, if you haven't already done so, go check me out on social media. _Racing Tips on Facebook, and C-Lane Racing Tips. C-Lane Racing Tips on Facebook, and C-Lane_Racing Tips on Instagram. Obviously, I should post all these tips as well as quaddie selections, and then also I do daily tips every single day on every Victorian meeting, then some New South Wales meetings, and then a couple of around the tracks, which I will be doing tomorrow, looking at sort of the likes of Morphettville and the like. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Obviously, if you watch this video, go and check out my video of the Randwick meeting after this one. So thank you for tuning in. Really looking forward to racing tomorrow. Some terrific races. Hope we can find plenty of winners.